We hope you're having a fantastic day. It's been a little while, been a few weeks since we have done a quick live video update regarding the pandemic and the things that may be impacting your office. So today's kind of that day. And so we just updated the article with a couple of pieces that we really want you to be aware. And so here are those pieces. The first and foremost is dealing with the Provider Relief Fund. Both HHS, which is kind of governing that whole process of getting some of these funds into our physicians' hands, has made some modifications to that particular program. And then the IRS made some determinations. Now, we talked a couple of weeks ago about the IRS, and the IRS did, in fact, indicate that the funds that physicians and hospitals received would be considered taxable income, and therefore, basically, you're going to have to give back to the government, your tax rate. Corporate would be 21%, and then of course, if you're sole proprietor, whatever tax bracket you may be in. So that's how that will ultimately play back right now, according to the IRS. Now, yeah, we did announce that a couple of weeks ago. What we did want to let you know is that we have addressed Congress. The Illinois Chiropractic Society put together a coalition. I'm going to have some more information on that next week. But we did make some efforts to have Congress act on behalf of the providers who receive those funds to make them not taxable, and then also make any attributable expenses also continue to be tax deductible, which makes that grant money fully then non-taxed. We'll have more information in the coming weeks, and I think next week we're going to put out some additional information on the whole process of what we went through to release this information to Congress and the coalition that we established. Now, the second thing that happened was HHS made some determinations. Now, according to the statute, those entities that are that received $150,000 and more were going to be required to have some reporting that would have to be done, which begins towards the end of this year. However, HHS actually lowered that amount considerably. So they moved it from $150,000 down to $10,000. So if you received in the general distribution, now this would have been the amount that you would have initially received, automatically direct deposited into your bank with the HHS tag, if you will, in it, and then turned around, you would have attested to that and then applied for the second round of the $20 billion. So $30 billion and $20 billion to $50 billion is the general distribution. So these are the two different deposits that would have been made into your account, or the two different checks that you would have received if you don't do direct deposit. In those cases, that's the general distribution. If those two amounts total more than $10,000, then you will have reporting requirements. As we get closer to that date, we'll put out more information. It's far enough away. I believe October is the time frame that who knows what can change between now and then. They could change that threshold amount again. And so there's not a whole lot of reason to be too concerned, but we wanted you to be aware. The last big thing that changed, and you can see it out there in the article again, all of this is in the article and you can read up on it all. But this is really important. If you work inside the city of Chicago, if you are in the city of Chicago, or you live in the city of Chicago, you have to know that the city has a bit more stringent guidelines and restrictions in place currently. And so we want you to be aware. Now, one of these things is, in essence, a travel restriction. And they're actually calling it something different. They're calling it an emergency travel order. And the way that works is, if you go to any one of these states that are on their list, then return to Chicago, if you're in any one of those states for longer than 24 hours, is what they indicate, and you return to the city of Chicago, then you have to quarantine for 14 days. Now, there is an exception to this rule if you're traveling for business purposes or for work-related purposes. Then at that stage, you could return without the quarantine, but with some additional restrictions and guidelines in place upon your return. But there's a number of states that are listed. There's let's see, there's 22 states, it looks like, that are currently on the listing. And a couple of key states to note: Iowa, Missouri, and then most important for those in Chicago, Wisconsin was added as of noon today. And today is Friday, the 31st of July. So know that Wisconsin's now included. So if you have a vacation home up in Wisconsin, according to the emergency travel order in the city of Chicago, again, being very clear, this does not apply to the entire state. It's only the city of Chicago. They have this travel restriction in place, in a sense. That, by the way, if you own that property up in Wisconsin and you go visit it, according to the order, you would have to then quarantine for 14 days upon your return. And the penalties are $100 to $200 per day, up to I don't remember, but there is a cap, but I think it's like $7,000. So know that it can be fairly expensive. And actually, I believe it's $100 to $500 a day. So that's where the 7,000 is on 14 days. 14 days at $500 is 7,000. So that's where the cap is, I believe. But all of that information is in the article, and you can even link over to the city to see exactly what's going on. But we wanted you to be aware because we know that could potentially negatively impact your practice, of course, not being open for that long. So hopefully this information at least equips you and gives you more information to be able to continue to practice more in compliance and protecting you, your staff, and your patients. You have a great weekend.